Ghana came within 90 seconds of doing something no African team has ever done. Not before, not since. 16 years later, it's still the closest the entire continent has ever gotten to a World Cup semi-final, and almost nobody remembers it the right way. Everybody who's heard of this game remembers one moment: a hand on a goal line. But here's the question that actually matters, and I'm not answering it yet. Was the handball really what cost Ghana the game, or was it something that happened 90 seconds later, from 12 yards out, with no defender anywhere near the ball? Stick around. That answer changes everything about who the villain of this story actually is. Ghana's best player didn't even make the plane. Michael Essien tore his knee weeks before the tournament gone. So the team that walked into South Africa 2010 wasn't some golden generation loaded with superstars. It was a Serbian coach, a bunch of players who'd grown up together in the youth ranks, and an 18-year-old named Under Ayew making his World Cup debut before he'd even locked down a starting spot at his club. 6 African nations entered that tournament. On home soil. First World Cup ever hosted on the continent. By the round of 16, 5 of them were already home. One team was left standing between African World Cup and African team actually wins something at it. And it wasn't the team anybody would have picked in June. Group D: Serbia, Australia, Germany. On paper, the hardest group any African side drew that summer. Asamoah Gyan breaks the deadlock against Serbia in the 85th minute late. Ugly. Exactly the kind of goal that doesn't look important until you realize it means Ghana controls its own group from game 1, instead of chasing results for 2 weeks. A draw with Australia, a narrow loss to Germany, who'd go on to finish 3rd in the whole tournament. Didn't matter. Ghana through. Second in the group, the only African team left in the competition. Round of 16. The United States' fitter, deeper squad expected to grind Ghana down if it went long. Kevin Prince Boateng scores inside 5 minutes. Landon Donovan drags it level before half. Extra time. And this is where Asamoah Gyan's tournament turns from good into something else. Extra time winner. Ghana into the quarterfinal. 3rd time ever an African nation reaches this stage of a World Cup, and this time, the only one still alive to do it. One win from a semi-final no African team has ever played in. The opponent: Uruguay. Missing their suspended captain, but still carrying 2 of the tournament's most dangerous attackers in Luis Suárez and Diego Forlán. This is where the takelands invite disagreement here. 1-1. Extra time. Seconds from penalties. Ghana whips in a free kick. A header cracks off the crossbar, and the rebound is rolling into an empty net. Luis Suárez, standing on his own goal line, beaten, no goalkeeper left to stop it, punches the ball out of the air with both hands. Red card. Automatic. Ghana gets the penalty. Last kick of extra time. A World Cup semi-final on African soil, 90 seconds away. Now here's the take some of you won't like. Suárez isn't actually the villain of this story. What he did was cynical. It was a professional foul in the purest sense, and he knew exactly what he was trading his tournament for his team's survival. But it worked. The real gut punch was still coming, and it wasn't caused by his hands at all. Open loop resolves here, roughly 65% mark, Asamoah Gyan. Same guy who scored a penalty in the group stage. Same guy who scored the extra time winner against the US 4 days earlier. If there's one player on that pitch you trust with this kick, it's him. Clean strike. Right height, right power. Crossbar bounces down on the wrong side of the line. So here's your answer. The handball didn't eliminate Ghana. The handball gave Ghana a golden opportunity that a red card foul actually handed them for free. What eliminated Ghana was the kick that came right after it, the one nobody but Gyan himself had control over. Penalties still had to happen after that. Dominic Adia misses Ghana's next one. Uruguay converts enough. 4-2. Suárez, banned from the pitch, watches the winning kick go in from the tunnel and reacts like his country just won the whole thing. For Uruguay, first semi-final since 1970 it basically was. Here's the part everyone skips. Gyan didn't hide from what happened. He didn't ask out of the next kick. Either he took Ghana's first penalty in the shootout, highest pressure spot on the sheet, 4 days after the biggest miss of his career. And he scored it. Quick question for you. If you were Gyan's coach, do you even let him take that next kick? Or does the risk of a second miss outweigh trusting your best player to bounce back immediately? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to see where people land on this. 90 seconds. That's all that separated Ghana from a World Cup semi-final no African nation has ever reached before that night or in the 16 years since. Not the handball. Not really. The kick that came right after it. That's the record still standing. Nobody's touched it. If you think the handball still deserves the blame over the miss, say so in the comments. I want the argument. Like this video if Ghana 10 still gets you. Share it with someone who only remembers the handball and not the story around it. And subscribe, we're covering the next African World Cup, near miss, soon.